Good afternoon, everybody. How are you? If you could, just let me know if you can see my screen's okay and hear my voice all right. We'll get started here. I don't want to keep you waiting too much longer. Sometimes when the markets are closing, it takes a minute for people to log in. Woo! It's a hot day here today in North Carolina. About 94 degrees. Scientists reporting that this is the hottest summer on record since records. And I thought, wow, I'm feeling it. And so I hope you're surviving okay and doing all right. Ed, it's a pleasure to have you here. I know some of you have been talking to Dave about some stuff. And Ed, I wanted you to know that if there were any markets you wanted me to focus on here today during our demonstration to help you make a decision, I'd be happy to. Just let me know what you're looking at home, and I'll kind of walk you through what we're all about and how we can help you. No, it's my pleasure. Thanks for coming. Let me take a glass of water here. I'm trying to stay hydrated. I made the mistake of trying to grow new things in my backyard garden. I planted new apple trees and raspberry bushes and blackberry bushes, and I found out none of those things like it when it's hot. Earl, are you down in Florida or up here by me? 87 sounds great. 60s in Minnesota sounds even better. In a nutshell, Ed, we are a very unique anomaly so far as trading and education and tools are concerned. People don't trust vendors for a very good reason. They lie. They take your money. They never call you back. They never follow through. Their rules change, their systems change, their companies close and reopen under different names. It's a mess. And so we had no intention nearly 15 years ago of doing any of this. Actually, we were fed up, like many of you were, with the current and present availability of tools, and decided, my best friend and I, my partner and I, to build something that was different, special, unique, in fact. And we started this company with a completely different tack, completely different take on how markets move and why they move. And it's based on time. Nobody focuses on time. Markets are based on where markets will be in the future. No one predicts the future. And we said, let's do that. And here we are. So to kind of get around that, we're the only company that gives you the forecasts for the markets in the future. And I want to talk to you a little bit about what these lines mean and how that can help you be a better trader. Stand by. So we're going to talk a little bit about this here in a minute and show you what we can do when we know when the moves are likely to occur in the future. Our premise is built on a belief. Banks sort of run the world, in case you haven't been paying attention. There's a lot of money flying around, and whether it's the Great Recession of 2008, 2009, or the recession of 2020, TARP money or PPP money, the banks seem to always come out on top. And we theorize that if 90% of traders are losing and 100% of banks are winning, we wanted to follow those guys. But they don't leave behind a very clear trail. They're very skilled at hiding what they do. And so our software scans through thousands of bars of historical data on every market and time frame, and it looks for evidence of shenanigans, evidence of malfeasance. Are there any times, computer, imagine we're Scotty from Star Trek, right? Computer, are there any times where the markets are moving regularly up or down in crude futures? Are there any times where the E-mini S&P lately is going up and down regularly at a certain time? Can you help me find these patterns? And so when I show this to my mother-in-law, she goes, I don't know, what is it? It looks like an old Atari game. But when I show that to an app, a smartphone that's designed to scan that information and pull information from the chaos, it can tell me that maybe it's a website. When I look at this screen, I see noise and nonsense and ups and downs and reports and econs and what did Powell say and what did this person have for breakfast, and it's a lot to keep track of. But when I ask a computer to look, it goes, sir, I'm not sure you're aware. However, lately, 5:30 a.m. in the morning, someone has been pushing oil higher for quite some time. You may wish to watch tomorrow at 5:30 and see perhaps if they do it again. That's what programs should do, right? That's what indicators should do. Instead, most of us succumb to the insanity of, you know, here's $10,000. Can I have a highly advanced moving average that you've surrounded with very good marketing? Why, sure. Take it. Here's my money. Swore I'd never do this again. This is what indicators should do, right? We all did it. Some of you are still doing it. I had a guy text me, if he's in here, please leave. Robert, Ed, he texted me at dinner time, and he said, I'll give you $100 for your program. And I said, no. And I gave him the link to eBay. I said, if you want a bargain like it's an Indian bazaar and I'm selling mangoes, you should go on eBay. And he said, well, I made 150% on my account yesterday. I said, why are you texting me at dinner if you made 150% on your accounts? Indicators and traders, they're weird. This is such a weird segment of life. And so I want to break through some of that noise with you here today. Hey, Harry, it's good to see you. Doug, welcome. Daryl, Daniel. I want to show you some things that I've figured out. Because I'm an engineer, I have a diploma in everything. They gave me a piece of paper and said, thanks for the tuition, see you later. And they pushed me away. But I have this piece of paper that says, you can do engineering stuff. And so after 15 years and bunches of patents and all sorts of cool machines and designs later, I put all that energy into what I'm about to show you here today. But to prove that it works, we do this really weird thing where we give you the times and directions in advance for a bunch of markets on Tuesday. And then all throughout Wednesday and Thursday, you get to watch what happened. And today we're going to look at the largest index, in the world. Stand by 1 second. Perfect. So let's get right to it. Timing signals are based on a number of things. And so what the program is doing is it's saying, hey, if you look at a calendar, for example, Ed, all the charts today that we'll be looking at are following this study. We look at a calendar like a checkerboard. Today is Thursday. And so, Ed, I can ask my program to go back and look at this Thursday and look at this Thursday and study when the E-mini S&P is going down and up. And when last Thursday closed, the computer took all of that data and did a bunch of crazy stuff and then spit out a histogram for this week. And it said, hey, Ed, Harry, these are the times for next Thursday based on what happened this Thursday and this Thursday. Ed, does that make sense? It compiled a report of behavior patterns. All right, cool. And so that's the first part of it. The second part of it involves the handout that I've got in every webinar I've ever done, and it's in your handout section. It's well overdue for a rewrite, update a few things. But Ed, inside of all of those times, when we get to them, there's a number of things that can happen. So for example, if we arrive at a buying time, one of those white lines, we expect the market to go up. If the market's in an uptrend, it's going to really push up. If we get to a pattern 1 or a regular plain Jane buying signal, Ed, we should see some type of a reaction to the upside. So those white lines, that's kind of what we're expecting. If we're in a downtrend, something a little weirder happens. If we're in a downtrend and it's selling hard, selling, what happens, Ed, is there's a pause because people are buying into the downtrend or covering their shorts, and that holds price from going any lower for a time. It'll consolidate inside of a range. So if you're an existing customer, this is really important. When you're in a downtrend, you're not going to see the market reverse and go straight up off a green dot every time. That's not how it works. What it will do is it'll go into a consolidated range at that time. And a lot of people ask me, can you predict when chop is coming in a market? And the answer is we can. But I want you to remember this. When we get to a buying signal in a downtrend, Ed, sometimes it'll push up, but a lot of times it goes into a redistribution phase, like a pinball caught between two bumpers in a pinball machine. Bing, 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 bing. The buyers and the sellers are exchanging phone numbers right there, okay? When we get to a selling pressure signal, we expect the prices to fall down in a downtrend especially. And so we're expecting it when we get to those blue lines to drop off and fall down, especially in a downtrend, okay? And these examples all use a 120 period EMA in my book. And this book is from almost 7 years ago. So in a downtrend, we're expecting that. Well, in an uptrend, Ed, it's kind of the opposite. It's pouring water on a forest fire. Pouring water on a forest fire. And so, Dave, when we're rising, and we get to one of these, in this case, blue lines, the modern version of the software has blue lines here, it will stop and pause because, Ed, people are selling into the uptrend and people are buying here at the bottom. And so you get to those times and it'll pause for a while. People are selling at the top, holding the trend from going any higher, and new participants are buying at the bottom. Does that make sense? We actually see that over here. So this is what our expectation is. In a downtrend, we should see big moves at the sell times and consolidation or small retracements at the white times. In an uptrend, we should see big moves at the buy time and small retracements or consolidation at the sell times. Keith, does that make sense? I'm going to touch stone a few of you. Earl, does that track well, or am I talking over people's heads? Craig, Mary, how am I doing? Okay, cool. Now, all the way at the bottom is something weird. Sometimes when we get to a selling pressure signal, and there are very special circumstances, it reverses and goes in the completely opposite direction. So Ed, if I arrive at one of those blue lines or blue dots, pretend this is blue. We're chromatically racist today. And so here, if you arrive and either that signal, the signal to the left of it, or the candle to the right of it and left of it rather, Ed, if any one of these three candles has broken this low, let me turn off my Skype for a second here, guys, because right before I started the webinar, people started losing their minds on Skype. So when one of these three candles is a brand new low, it can go in the complete opposite direction. And here's an example of that. There's a prior swing low. We got to a time that was supposed to be a selling time, but because it and the candle next to it, both of those have brand new lows, they inherit an arrow pointing up, warning us there's a really good chance it's going to go in the opposite direction. It's kind of like an oversold selling time. An oversold selling time goes in the other direction. Okay, and there's actually a little description here that tells us how to trade that. We're going to look at it in a second. Now, when we arrive at a buying time, and that time, or the candle to the left or the right, any one of those three have a higher high, they're going to get arrows pointing down. Because, Ed, there's a really good chance it could do this, reverse and go in the other direction. These are overbought buying times. OBBT. Oh, yeah, there's some letters there. And so now, when we get to these histograms, now you know that this has the potential, 806 could be what? And this is helpful if you're a customer. It could be a pattern 2, or it could be a pattern 4. 924 could be a 1, or it could be a 5. 1036 could be a 2, a regular sell signal, or it could be a 4. 1148 could be a 1 or a 2, and so on. Hey, Juan. Chris, does that make sense? Laura? Each of these has the ability to be a normal signal or a signal that has the capability to kind of go reverse and go up, or reverse, go up for a little while and keep going. All right, cool. So now here's the thing. This is insane. 1148 can be a 1 or a 5, never a 2. because a 2 is a selling signal. It can be a 1, a 5, a 7, or a 9. Bala. A 1, a 5, a 7, or a 9. Oh, did I? Forgive me. If I wrote 2, apologies. I get a little excited. So check this out. When we come, I'm going to show you a few examples here where that happened on the NASDAQ. This is the afternoon session of the NASDAQ. And I want to show you the opening signal today on the E-mini NASDAQ at 9:33. Just so you get in the habit of training your eye, because we're going to look at the EFs here in a minute. So Ed, the signal at 9:33 this morning, per the email that I sent you guys, was for 9:33 to be a blue signal. It was based on what happened 7 days ago and 14 days ago. So the computer, the program, I smell shenanigans, and it warned us to look for a move at 9:33. But at 9:33, Ed, it qualified as what? It qualified as a pattern 4. All right, remember, let's look at the guidebook. Just so you see, I'm not making stuff up. It's important that you think I'm honest. It really hurts my feelings if you don't. So Ed, it qualified. 9:33 was a lower low. 9:32 was a lower low. Can everybody see that? Larry, hey Larry. Mike, Patience, hey. So when we get to 9:33, the software automatically fills it in for me. You guys have the book, and when you're doing your trials, you have to keep track of it by hand. Those of you that are customers, you should have tattoos of this on your arms so you can remember. At least print out a book so you can flip to the page when you get to it. So when we got to this time, look what happened. This is from a NASDAQ chart 7 years ago. NQ06, June of 2016. So 7 years ago, that pattern occurred, Ed, on a 938 candle. And here it occurred on a 933 candle. When we got to 914, Ed, it was a higher swing high, and the software said, hey, you look a lot like the conditions, the mechanical requirements for a 5. And when we get a 5, what does it usually do? It goes down. Easy, Doug. And so I wanted you to see, Ed, that there's the possibility for these signals. Gann referred to these types of signals, WD Gann, the best time guy besides me. I think I'm the best one. He's a close second. Gann referred to these signals as inversions, which is a fancy old guy way of saying backwards. And one of the things our software does is tells you when the inversion is possible. So if you guys that have the software are struggling with patterns, first of all, turn them on. And second of all, read that book. There's a switch in the indicator that lets me turn the patterns on or off. When it says show signal dots only, I can click that, and now ignorance is bliss. It's just white and blue, buy and sell. Okay, any questions about that? And we see that that happened on the NQ. And then when we get to the afternoon, Ed, do you notice how there's no shenanigans there? Here are the PM signals for the NASDAQ. So this is as far away from the forecast as we can get on the weirdest market we can trade. The NASDAQ is weird, and I love it. So when we come and look at these times, the way you hold me accountable, I have a meeting today with a man and his wife. He bought a program, it didn't work. He wants to buy ours, and she doesn't trust me. And I can come here and say, Mrs., you don't trust me? I gave your husband these times a week ago. Ed, do you see that? And then I can come here and show her 350, 402, 338, 332, 327, 321, 311, 301, 246, and 214. So Ed, can we concede that I do not fit in the snake oil salesman category? I do not deserve to be labeled as a fraud or a snake oil salesman. The signals that I gave you on the NASDAQ, as far away from Tuesday evening as we can get, right up until the close today, boy, it sure looks like the premise of my life's work is founded on something real. It fell at 214. It rose at 246. It fell. There's a double top, in fact, at 301. There's a doji, the candle before, 311. They stopped and said, no, we're going up. It dropped at 321. The biggest bull candle in that run appears at 327. It goes up again with a stop run. Uh-oh, who got stuck in that, everybody? And then it dropped from 332 to the next big buying candle. Bear candle, bear candle, bear candle, bear candle, bull candle, yum. And when does it go up to? Until 350. And Ed, guess what they did again? Stop run. Dum chicka dum chicka dum chicka dum dum, stop run. And how low did they go? Back to 402. Eric, Ed, Leroy, it sure looks like, to me, now I'm biased, but it sure looks like to me, somebody had a plan for the last 3 hours of the market today. Somebody had a sheet of paper or a program, a meeting, and they said, let's wreak mayhem on Ed's trading account. How's everybody doing? So far, so good? Ones and twos. No fours, no fives. Ones and twos. And then the big guy. Oh, who's the big guy? Big guy is the E-mini S&P. The E-mini S&P. No, I'm the big guy. I think. That's what it says on my t-shirt. So now we're moving from signals to setups. How do I trade this? And before we go into this, I want to tell you there's one more pattern that I'm programming into the software. And it's been on my computer since February of this year. And it's important because I've been sharing it with those of you in my live trading room, and I wanted to share it with you guys here today as well. So let me open this, cancel, open with Snagit editor. Here we go. There's a pattern 5 at 539. There's a pattern 4 at 630. There's a pattern 4 at 806. Add a big old pattern 1 at 924. A pattern 4 at 1036. And then a pattern 4 at 11:48 into lunchtime. Is that okay, everybody? Is with me so far? They know what the rules were and how they qualified. Okay, good. Now, there's a new pattern. There's two. And I want you to see, when I right-click and go to properties, Robert, can you see that it was created Tuesday, February 1st, 2022? So I've known about it. I didn't make it up before we got to the webinar, like these sleazeball vendors. Yes, I consulted with the trading gods, and they bestowed me with 2 golden tablets filled with patterns that are valid today. Yeah. And so it's happened frequently enough where I trust it to put it in the software. It's like a language that we're learning more and more fluently. If we have 3 higher highs or 3 higher closes in relation to a 4th candle, then we treat it the same as a pattern 5. That's my little scratchy notes. And I'll show you, if I can, we'll blow it up, and I want you to see 709 because it's important. View, zoom in, view, zoom in, view, zoom in. So Robert, check it out. This is candle 1, 2, 3, and there's 4 per my example. And so now this high is higher than this high. This high is higher than this high. Can you take me home enough? This high is higher than that high. 3 higher highs in comparison to this guy. If this was a 1 tick higher close, it would have been 3 higher closes. But I use the word or. And in this diagram, I'm going to put an arrow over top of it, and I'm going to treat it like a 5. It's important that I show you this because it makes today even more fun. Here we go. So it's 7:09. I get to treat it like a 5. And I'm going to draw it on my screen, but I think I have enough credibility with you where you'll kind of give me a little rope here. 9. All right. When the market is in a downtrend, the software doesn't print a 9 bala because I actually care enough to test stuff thousands of times before I push it out in an update to you guys. The pattern 4s and 5s sat on my computer in beta form for a year because I take what you do very seriously. And if I push an update out to you while you're trying to qualify for an Apex account or you're managing your own funds and it's not right, that's on me. So just like any good machine designer, I test it first to make sure it's robust. Now check it out. When the trend is down, per my instructions to you, I told you how we would trade this thing right here. We'll also be showing how the signals can be traded by using one of 2 very simple entry rules called signal with trend or puncture trade. This video provides an overview explanation for these. And in this video, I explain how we're going to go short at the sell times and look for punctures at the buy times. And I gave you the book too that explains what I'm about to show you. But let me give it to you in real time. At 6:30, Well, here, let's look at 530. At 530, it's above the moving average. And Bala, right here, it closes below the moving average. We'll go from London open to close today, or London open to lunchtime is a good run. It closes at 44.60.75. It opened at 44.62.50. When it crosses over the moving average, I put my stop 2 ticks, doink, doink, above the candle that closed below the moving average. So my entry is at the close, my stop is here, and I'm going to hold it, Ed, until 6:30 for a point. I use time as an exit. Time as an exit. Now, we get to 6:30. 6:30, computer says pattern 4, womp womp. Uh-oh. There's the low of that candle. The third candle is a pattern 4, womp womp. I go back to the book. I go back to the histogram guidebook. How do I trade a pattern 4? I'm glad you asked. First, use a breakout threshold below the lowest low of the 3 candle series. I recommend at least a 2-tick gap to use as a trend continuation level. And so, Ed, when we get to pattern 4s in a downtrend, we put a sell stop right here. Whichever one of these 3 has the lowest low, we put a sell stop 2 ticks underneath it. So when it breaks through, we're looking for a continuation. Sometimes pattern 4s go up and they never stop. Sometimes they go up for a while like a rocket with not enough fuel and they come down. Well, we want to make sure we don't get caught up in this nonsense. Let's make sure it breaks out of its low. And you can see, Ed, over here, there's that line right there, right? Our stop goes 2 ticks above the candle that punctures that level. When it happens, it's usually a very fierce push down, a momentum move, a trend continuation. So over here with our pattern 4 at 6:30, it punctures that low right here. Our stop goes 2 ticks over the candle that went through it, right here. And you'll see that we go all the way down to here. We go $3 down, $150 before it comes up and it hits our stop minus 2 ticks. Let's make it 3 with slippage. Everybody with me so far? Okay, we're going to do the other pattern 4 here real quick. Ready? At 8:06, 3 candles possible, 2 of them qualify. The low is 44.50.25. 1 tick, 2 ticks down, 49.75 is our breakout threshold. Now, Ed, this candle punches through that line. Bala. The punch comes right there, 44.49 3/4. Where's my stop? My stop is doink, doink, 2 ticks above the candle, which punctured what? The pattern 4 low. Oh, we go, we go, we go. $12.25. Pattern 4, trend continuation. Everybody with me? Okay. Now, at 7:09, this is a selling signal. It's a selling signal. My favorite pattern is a pattern 4. That's my favorite pattern of all of them. And you'll see why here in a second. And 5s are cool, but 4s, I'll explain the difference between the two of them in a second. They have personalities. Does that make sense? Yeah, I guess you could say that. All of these signals, Robert, have a stop, which is 1.5, the average true range away from the candle. All of these signals have a stop, which is 1.5 ATR values away from the signal. So I'm going to steal the one from 6:30, and I'm going to put it over here on my pattern 9, because it doesn't have a signal yet. But Bala, can you see how the line, if it had one, would be right here? That would be our stop. Or the hollow dot would be right there. So we're going to go short at a pattern 9, and we're going to hold it until that first pattern 4 appears. Boing. There's $8. Now, we get to 9:24 just before the open. The open is at 9:30 right here. I've been teaching a signal in the pro room. We can try a counter trend trade. Let's try to go long at 9:24. We'll enter at the close and we'll put a stop just underneath that candle. Womp womp. Okay. So here I would enter at the 9:24 signal. My stop is just below it. I make 2 ticks and then I flame out and I give $2 back. Aww. But Ed, the cool thing is, boy did it go down from 8:06 until 9:24, and boy did it go up at 9:24. 2 days after I gave you guys the signals. Now, when we get to the pattern 4 signal at 10:36, Ed, it never breaks the low of the primary signal. Right there. So Robert, if I try the same shenanigans that I tried at the 9:24 buy signal, I can enter at the close of this candle and I can put my stop 1 tick underneath the pattern 4 low. Let me try to see if it's going to shoot up. So low risk entry at a bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. There's the stop run. This is JP Morgan. This is Deutsche Bank. This is the guy who goes to jail every year for manipulating the market. They run the stops. This is why you fail. This is why you burn your Apex accounts up and you reset every month. They run the stops at the time the software is warning us the banks are about to feed. It's feeding time. And obviously you can see how high it went by 11:48. 11:48 is not quite lunchtime. Last signal, it's above the moving average. The stop is below 1.5 ATR values. The stop is bigger because the volatility is higher. We enter and we exit by 12:27. Now, what I want you to think about. Number 1, could I have changed the times from what was published on the web page Tuesday night? Yeah, I could have. Are there people here who take screenshots to make sure I don't do that and keep the company honest? Yeah. Could I show you the publish log for the website and when those times were put into the web page? Robert, the banks will run stops at these times very, very, very frequently. Okay, I couldn't have changed the times. All right, I got you. Number two, did I edit the histogram book that I show you guys every week, or is it the same in every webinar for the last 10 years, 7 years? That book is the same. Okay. Robert said, and also I am a believer now. I saw the signals and traded them today and yesterday. This system is a game changer. It's not so much a system, Robert, it's a flashlight. I'm not correcting you, I'm just amplifying you. It's shining a light on stuff that's always happening, but we didn't know they were doing it. Okay, and three, the trading rules are published on the page. They've been the same rules forever. 120 EMA, punctures, and signals with trend. So all total from the London open till lunchtime today, 1, 10, 22, 36, 43, oh, that's not one. 41. There's over $40 of potential trades here, about $2,000 in one day, which is the price of the software after the promo code. And then if we go back and look at yesterday, just so you see it wasn't a fluke. Robert, here were the signals on the overnight. You see how it's doing the same thing overnight in the London session? Robert, what are you doing? Come to bed. I'm trading the S&P. You're doing what? I wore the pajamas that aren't itchy tonight. Just for you. I'm coming. Target filled. Woohoo! Let's go look at yesterday. Because yesterday was bananas. Check it out. These are the times I gave you yesterday. And so let's take a look at this section here. And I want you to see how I would navigate it. A lot of you asked me about this yesterday. We had a pattern 5. The pattern 5 has a hollow dot right here. So Robert, Ed, when you're watching the signals, a normal pattern 1 has the stop this far away. The software puts the stop opposite, if it's a 5, above us in this direction. Does that make sense, guys? It gives me, if it's a 1, here's your stop. If it's a 5, it's up here. So I'm going to draw a line. This is stuff you don't see when you're doing the trial and watching it on the other screen without the software. I understand it's harder. So that's the stop. So this could be a 1 or a 5 or a 9 or a 7. And Bala, it's a 5. My stop is 1.5 ATR values above me. My entry is the close of this candle. My exit is 10:15. Now, how many of you used to getting trades, you get out and then sit there as it moved obscenely with vigor in the direction you assumed it was always going, but you didn't hang on because they shook you off the train midway through the move? You don't survive. Your nerves tear up. Somebody knocks on the door, you yell, "What?" "I'm sorry, I was bringing you an English muffin, but forget that. I'm going to give it to the dog." "Fine, Gladys." And you don't have the heart to tell Gladys you're not going to Disney that year. Although a lot of you aren't going to Disney ever again, but that's another story. Not because of your trading. So you undershort right here yesterday, and then you exit at 10:15. Again, I'm not making any rules up. I'm not using any Oprah Winfrey, Tony Robbins, guru logic, wishy-washy, making up the stuff as I go along, straight out of the book. The 6-year, 7-year-old book with signals that are now 1 day old. This was yesterday. 10:15 says number 2 up here. Uh-oh. Number 2, that means I got to sell it, and my stop is 1.5 ATR values away. Right there. There it is. There's my stop. My entry is the low of the candle, the close rather. My exit is going to be boink boink 10:30. There it is. So now I'm in and I'm out at 10:30. I want you to see what happened here, Robert. I've been short from here to this candle. I get short again in this candle, and now I'm short to here. I've taken all of this move. So I've basically been short from 9 o'clock until 10:30, and there's $22, $23 or $1,000 worth of moves. Now, what happens when we get to a buy signal in a hard downtrend? What happens when we get to a buy signal in a hard downtrend? One of two things, right? A pattern 1 will either retrace and go in the other direction, or it'll consolidate, slow down, and keep going. Daryl, hang on, I'm going to read your question here in a second. So you can actually see, Robert, it goes into a zone and breaks out. If I tried to buy this candle, like yesterday, let's be consistent. It opens here, it closes here, there's my entry. My stop is under the candle. I give $1 back. I tried. Okay. When it crosses, as soon as it moves through this white line, I sell it. Because now, Robert, this is a failure of the white signal. It's a puncture of the stop of this buying signal. So if it keeps going and falls another 100 points, I want to be in on the action. When it punctures the line, my stop goes 2 ticks above the signal. My entry is 1 to 2 ticks below the white line, and obviously it comes back up and hits the stop right there. Part of doing business with trading, boom, minus $4. I don't wait for the bar to close, Takahiro. I wait for it to go through. There is a school of thought that diametrically opposes my perspective. It's like a tribe of hill-dwelling, warmongering, candle close only traders in my customer group that swears by closing. I wait for it to go through. No close necessary. If you want to join the hill tribes, no harm, no foul. You can still be my friend. At 11:21, we go short. We exit by 11:45. I give $2.75 back. And then at 11:45, we have a pattern 5 right here on the close of this candle. It gets the golden arrow. It's blue in this case. Close of that candle, I exit, I enter long. I can't talk straight. Water break. On the close of the pattern 5, I enter short and I exit by the next signal 12.24. So yesterday, 16, 23, 26, call it 25, minus 3, 22, minus 4, 18, minus 1, 17, call it 15 points total in the US session. So 15, and then you can see the signals for the afternoon, right, Robert? Do you see the signals for the afternoon? Same thing as the NASDAQ. Now here's the part that'll blow your mind. Yeah, TachEon, sometimes people ignore the 4s and 5s altogether and they just don't trade it. They'll leave it alone and they'll let it go by. Or the punctures, same thing. Here's an alternative perspective on the punctures, TachEon. This might be helpful. The more you use the software, the more aggressive you can get because you feel more comfortable with it. If you have a pattern 1 in a downtrend like this, and the low is here, try to sell it 2 ticks under the low. Treat it, put the puncture point more aggressively higher. And then you can use your stop above the candle. So if that consolidation happens and it breaks down, you're not down here catching it, you can try to catch it higher. So you can have a more aggressive puncture if you want. You can also take a fib and use a 50% line here and try to get in earlier, but it's mechanical. It's mechanical. So yeah, Robert, I'll show you that here in a second. Robert's alluding to my Apple calls or the software's calls with Apple. It's been pretty amazing. But Robert, what I want you to see here is that, Ed, the signals are coming for tomorrow. Everything to the right of the dotted white line right here is the computer warning me when the next landmines are going off. So, Ed, Robert, you see where the signals are for tomorrow morning already? They're here. They don't change, they don't repaint, they don't disappear, they don't reappear. They're already in the space. I have them for tomorrow, Monday, Tuesday, not for Monday, yeah, for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. Monday, we have to look back 3 weeks because there was no data last week with Labor Day. So, as this also works, by the way, on markets like oil futures. These were the times today for oil futures. And it also works for markets like forex pairs. Here's the pound dollar on a 15-minute chart, for example. If you trade forex too, you can use it for that. And then, as Robert alluded to, I've made calls on the Facebook groups for markets like Apple. And Robert, I use 2 different methods to analyze Apple per the posts. And if you're not sure what Robert's referring to, I have stealthily joined about a dozen Facebook trading groups, and where other people are posting these things and going, look how well I did with the system I can't show you because it's imaginary in my mind. I come here and I tell people, hey, there was a full moon. There was the full moon in the sky on the E-mini S&P. And I don't know if you know this, but a full moon is a buying pressure signal. And this is where I lose a few of you, but if you'll stay with me, what do we see on top of the green dot? What pattern was it when it appeared? Let me blow it up. Oh, wow, well, let me do it. That's a pattern 5. What do pattern 5s do? They do this, and they drop. And so I posted that 2 days ago, and I warned everybody, it's coming. The drop is coming. And then I even said over here, I showed them another method, and I said, on the 60-minute chart, we're going to go through the white stop lines and go down at the blue dots now. And I gave them the times in advance. I gave them the same times for the market that you guys just saw for yesterday, before the market opened. And guys like Robert trickle in. And then they say, hey, that actually worked. So on this chart, I actually use moon phases. Every one of the little green dots here is a first quarter moon phase. That red dot was hanging up, and I told people, here we go. And then you can also, Robert referenced the other chart that I put out, right? Is it doing it for me? Yeah, there was a sell signal on the warp chart. I can go get it. But there was a sell signal right here on September 5th, and it dropped like a rock. There was a buy signal on August 14th, and it went straight up. Okay? And so we can look at other market. There it is. Robert, this is the one you're talking about? And no one believes me. Great chance for a call or a put, a call down here, a put up here and up here. A call over here, a call over here. And it works on Bitcoin too, by the way. I've been posting those things in cryptocurrency groups, and I'm waiting for the next push on September 13th. The sell signal for August 28th was off 1 day, and now we're slowly trickling down and trickling down. I've been making calls in Tesla too. And a guy said, I put the times in advance, Robert, in the group. And the guy was like, you're just lucky. I said, I've been lucky 16 times in a row now. I really have. And so you can follow the same trades, right? You can follow the same trades using longer time frames. There's a short, no puncture. There's a short, low risk, long until here. Then we can go short, and we have a loss right there. Track it with me. That's a gain. That's a gain. This is a loss. Long from May 26th until June 6th. Long above the stop line, 2 ticks until June 22nd. Long from June 22nd until July 5th. Long from July 20th until August 2nd. Close below the moving average. Short until August 16th. Low risk, long, we give back $3. Close above the moving average 1 day. You finish with like some pennies. And now we're waiting for the next signal. This is based on crazy moon stuff too, by the way. But the warp software tells us when the next signals are coming and when to be ready. Robert, Aurora is a version of warp, or a plugin for warp, that allows us to do several things. So it's an additional program, NQSEP23, and Aurora will put the signals with trend on the screen and tell us what direction to trade, and give me a statistical output of those signals over time in terms of how profitable were they. It can actually project targets based on historical movements. How far is the market likely to go? And so Aurora is sort of wringing out every last ounce of productivity from Warp that you can. So if you're an analytical person, we can come in here and start to bring in statistical outputs for all the patterns on the left-hand side. I can also, if I remember how to do it, let's see if it's here. I wanted you guys to see there's a risk reward calculator that tells you if your maximum favorable excursion, maximum adverse excursion. And I can't find the setting on here right now, Robert, that puts the targets on so you can actually see how far the move is likely to go. It's sort of a strategy back tester for Warp. If you really want to dig down into it, that applies the trading rules that I've taught you onto the screen, so you don't have to think about it. I'm trying to find that. You can filter by time of day, you can filter by trend, what kind of trend do you want to use. I wish I could show you the target, but I don't remember. Dina, does anybody here remember where that feature is? It's kind of cool. But Robert, in essence, it'll have a yellow line right here that tells you how far the move is likely to go. And in the upper right-hand corner, it'll tell you what the risk reward is. So if this was the signal and the potential reward is, it'll tell you 3 to 1 in the corner. But if the reward is only here and it's like 0.9 to 1, it'll flash red and tell you that it's not worth it yet. So it's a way to maximize Warp and, again, wring every little possible ounce of efficacy from it if you have an analytical mind. A lot of people find comfort with it and they really like to dig in, and then some people just prefer plain Jane vanilla yogurt Warp like that. Let's get rid of that. No. So it's just an overlay where you can do a lot more stuff with it if you start to get comfortable with it. Does that make sense? Cool. If they're trying to qualify for like an Apex account and get funded, they'll use both. They'll use both. We probably have dozens and dozens of Aurora subscribers with Force. You can always add it on in the future, Robert. You don't have to get it when you first get Warp. As you get comfortable, if you want to, or if you want to hit it from the ground running, you can get both things. Yeah. So it's kind of, you know, here's my sales pitch, right? It's going to be really, really incredible. If trading is about the future, you need something that predicts the future. If trading is about the past, you should get all the lagging indicators and free trials you can round up. All right. And so I wanted you to see that the system has an edge. It has a statistically relevant edge where you're making more money than you're losing in theory. because the times are relevant. I gave you the times 2 days ago. And then we only use that in a system you've had for years to reference, and pulled out 20 points yesterday. I don't even know how many points, 40 points today, using the same signals. Other people have taken this step before you. Trustpilot is great because it verifies who bought the software. If you're a customer, you can write a review. If you're not a customer, I can protest it and they can take it down. And so 4.8 out of 5, 91 reviews and climbing, on and on and on and on you go. Can I pull up SPY from today? Ed, I actually have to start slowing down and wrapping it up, but I'm happy to pull up SPY. SPY tracks the ES, you know that, right? You just want to see it because it has the letters you look at. SPY. With SPY, you're welcome. With SPY, we want to go extended trading hours, and I have a hard stop at 5:25, so 4 more minutes. We're going to use extended trading hours, Ed, to make sure we have that. And then we're going to load the warp signals. Ed, what time bars were you looking at for SPY? 5, 3, 1, an hourly? I just assumed 3 minutes because that's what we were looking at. 1 minute, you are OG. You are Bananarama. So Ed, here are the same signals from this afternoon, right? You see the same efficacy, 60 to 70%. I swear to you, I'm not lying. I have a picture of me at my Eagle Scout ceremony if you want to see it. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. A scout is honest, trustworthy, kind, courteous, friendly, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2. It works. I swear to God, it works. Other people tried it before you did, and they give me 4 and 5 stars. They give all of us here at the company 4 and 5 stars. If you want it, there's a promo code today. You're going to go to product store. You're going to click the button. You're going to go to TachEon Warp. A little pop-up is going to appear when you click on the Buy Now button at the very bottom of the page. There is a trading room. Go to checkout without trading room if you don't want to join up with that. If you do want to, they show signals, entries, exits, 8 to 12, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Go to checkout without pro trading room if you don't want it. Purchase agreement. I agree. The promo code takes $500 off. It is WARP. OFF. WARPOFF. When you do that, WARPOFF, and hit apply, it takes $500 off the program. 2 computer licenses, lifetime updates, video training archive with all the basic training videos. No fee for changing computers in the future, no additional fees or charges, and free white glove installation via GoToMeeting if you want to make sure it's perfect. Tutoring and mentoring programs available, as well as a live trading room if you want to watch me or Ron trade it live in the market. Ron, my trading buddy. Any questions? You have a choice. You can wake up tomorrow and not know the times on purpose. So Edwin, you can wake up and try to trade SPY tomorrow and fly naked. I don't want to know the times. I trust my lagging indicators. Bah! Fine. Some people like excitement and heartache. This is less exciting. This is more comfortable. It's calm. You know when to get in, when to get out, what your windows are. I don't want to trade anymore. I'm done for the day. Daryl, I promised I'd answer your question too. Let me get back to that. He left. All right, he's gone. But Ed, you can have this for tomorrow. Robert, you can have it for tomorrow. You can know what Tesla, Amazon, Apple, Nvidia, all of those fun stocks are likely to do in the future. You can know what Bitcoin is likely to do in the future, the euro, US dollar, wheat, corn, soybeans, soy meal, all of that stuff. There are patterns in the data that you can't see because we're not wired that way, but the software is. And it's yours if you want it. Completely transparent process today, 100%. No way I could manipulate or jerry rig. It's not impressive. Elvis was impressive. Ed, this is foundational. I've shown you the source code of how markets move. Try not to, customers will sometimes use words that make it easy for them to walk away and not engage or commit. This was really great. This was special. Impressive. No, it's a choice. Do you want it or not? Do you want to be surprised on purpose, which is gambling, and that's fine. It's legal. It's legal to lose as much money as you want and be aggravated and have adrenaline. But don't try to, and I'm not saying you are, but for those of you that are saying, this is really interesting. No, Boy George was interesting. Roseanne Barr is interesting. This is the foundation of it all. There's no way I could be right, this program could be right that far into the future on 1-minute time frames in the most volatile markets in the world. The banks are moving these times, and you can know them for tomorrow and Monday and Tuesday. Or you can hack away in the dark with welding gloves on, feeling for pearls on the floor. Don't do that. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine upon your glorious, handsome faces and beautiful faces. So beautiful. May the valleys rise up to meet you. The mountains of adversity lay low before you. I truly wish you well. I am for you. I am on your side. I go to lengths and extremes that no other vendor or company goes to assuage your concerns, to lay low any objections you have as to our integrity. I've left you a novel of reviews from people who own the software that don't work for me, have no financial relationship to us to read through. This is the clearest signal you have from a deity, from the universe, from Valhalla, wherever you're listening from. This is your signal and your on-ramp. If you want your trading to change tomorrow, you have to make the decision today. Intention without action is like a screen door on a submarine. It's useless. Please sign up. If you're a customer, go back and watch this video. It'll help you with your entries and your exits and really help you dial in some places you could lock in a few more ticks and dollars. If you have any questions, you know you can reach me on Skype, email, text me on the phone. You can reach me on an airplane. However, you need to get me. Peace and blessings to you as well. Take care, everyone. Have a great night, and welcome on board, Paul, and hopefully Edwin. I'm looking forward to teaching you guys and getting you on the track. Take care. Bye-bye.